couple of weeks ago on Raw, Cody Rhodes said to CM Punk, you know, when you think about it, I'm more CM Punk than you are. Well, Cody Rhodes just had a WrestleMania main event stolen from him by The Rock. So I guess he was actually really right. I'm Luke Houghton, DAD. Dan Layton is also here. Welcome to the WrestleTalk Podcast, review of SmackDown, an emergency podcast, I would say, because we actually made the announcement that we weren't going to be doing SmackDown reviews on Saturdays anymore. But then WWE decided to throw everything out the window and go in a whole new direction for a whole new world. And so I texted Dan this morning. I was like, hey, bud, do you fancy doing a podcast? And that's why we're doing it. And we're remote as well. This is a throwback to the pandemic era. I haven't done a podcast like this in ages.
I'd just woken up, like from where I was still existing in the world where everything was fine. And then you had dropped me in it first thing. Oh, God.
But welcome to the WrestleTalk Podcast. Please do press the subscribe button if you haven't already. Give this video a thumbs up as well. Get in your UltraChats, WrestleTalk.com/support. We'll read out all of them above the $5 amount before we get out of here. Please do join the live chat as well, because there's quite a lot of people who have quite a lot of thoughts on the idea of Roman Reigns versus The Rock at WrestleMania, as opposed to Roman Reigns versus Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania. We'll be sharing all of those thoughts. So, yeah, and also, but while we're here, can I have the live chat give a massive thank you to our moderating team? Because we have got them working on a Saturday, which is not how we tend to do things. So thank you very much. Also, I feel like my camera's lagging ever so slightly. I'm trying to use a fancy camera. Between us, we're having an absolute mare. This is why we don't do things remote anymore.
You think you're lagging. I think I'm flashing. Everything. Like, ultimately, if we can all, what we need to do is zen out anyway. So maybe we all need to listen to it with our eyes closed.
Yeah, do you know what? That's it. It's an audio medium when you think about it.
So everything's fine.
Here's what happened on SmackDown last night. We'll go into, the Raw side of things, and sort of how that all ties together. But here's what happened on SmackDown. Roman Reigns came out for the end of the show to cut a promo. The promo that he cut was an absolute burial of Seth Rollins, an absolute burial of the World Heavyweight Championship, an absolute burial of any contenders to the World Heavyweight Championship. And I mean, I'm going to, go through what he said. He got the crowd to acknowledge him. This crowd did acknowledge him, but also were chanting for Cody as well. And then he runs down Seth Rollins. He even says, I've got to talk about my little brother, Seth Rollins. The crowd did not react to that name, and Roman said, there you go, Seth, no pop, as per usual, referencing the fact that he got no reaction for his name. And he said, he keeps saying that he's got the best belt in this game, but I've beaten everyone who's challenged for that belt. It's the loser's bracket title. Seth is just running around in his wife's clothes, and he broke his back 3 months into carrying Raw on his back, mocked him for getting injured, and said, yeah, do you know what? You said I work less dates than you. I do, but I make 10 times more money than you do. So do you want to make Seth money, or do you want to make Tribal Chief money? Cody Rhodes, by the way, is an idiot. I'm not going to beg you to come face for me for my title, because you can either be the best number 2 or you can have a crack at number 1 again. So I think a lot of this you can put down to it's Roman in character. In the same way that we said with Seth's promo on Raw, it was Seth in character. Seth genuinely believes that he has got the best belt in the game. Roman Reigns thinks he has got the best belt in the game. He's the measuring stick for this. The problem is, I think, is that most fans' perceptions are more in line with Roman's than they are with Seth's, in looking at Seth's title as the number 2 title. But even just like outside of that, I'll get your thoughts on it ever so, in just a moment. My general thoughts on this are, because I kind of softened my thoughts on the Raw promo. I came out of that very negative, and I was like, I don't think this is a bad promo that's got no good out of it. It's very well delivered promo, but a bad promo in terms of content. There's no good that can come out of this promo, because either, I'll repeat myself again for anyone in the back, either Cody picks Roman and just, and says like, yeah, I don't care about your title. I think your title is stupid. Or he goes for Seth and just acknowledges everything that Seth says, or backs up everything that Seth said about that Roman's title being the phony Hollywood fake title. So you got then Roman being like, no, that's a belt for losers. You can have a world in which you don't bury either of the belts. and you can just put over both of the belts. Like, as I said, like I've softened my thoughts on the Seth thing because like I agree with some people that we had, Kid Cudi said in that chat being like, I think you're taking a cynical angle on this. All Cody's got to do is cut one promo where he points out the importance of the World Heavyweight Championship and kind of all is undone. And I do agree with that. Unfortunately, that's not what Cody did on this show here. And I did agree with that. But there's also a world in which you just make both belts seem awesome. And what they've done is opted to go for the one where they've made both belts look bad. But before we get into the Cody side of things, what did you make of Roman's opening promo?
Yeah, I'm kind of on the same. I mean, first of all, I really like Roman Reigns' energy. He's got the swagger. It's one of those things where, for all that he's not on television all the time, and that kind of diminishes a lot of it, when he does show up, it's hard to argue against the idea that he is the big dog, like he's the top guy, because all you have to do is one swooping shot of all the people with their phones out in one hand and the other hand in the air, like pointing at the sky. And that says to me, okay, well, Roman's a star. Like, so, I can kind of, again, understand why they keep him running because it does still work. But that's why we wanted to see Cody take him down, because it felt like two top star guys. Now, the actual content of it, I have my whole business about Becky would never be referred to like Becky would never be belittled by like Seth's your husband. I don't like that stuff. You're wearing your wife's wardrobe. Bollocks to that. We talked about that last week. I then also find all the stuff about the title. I make more money than you. So what's frustrating for me is the substance of some of the things that he's saying is like, okay, like I work smarter, not harder. And I'm a bigger star than you are. It's just that I've never been a fan of bringing someone down to elevate yourself, because otherwise you just look stupid. Like if you're saying you're nothing and I beat you, well then you haven't achieved anything. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's where I kind of come a bit unstuck with some of the things that Roman was saying. Also, to the point of the belt thing. Earlier on in the show, we had a video package, which I thought was like an effective video package, but also, again, what I said last week was that it was an own goal. Like, it was them tapping the ball in their own net, because what you had was them saying, do you want the Ric Flair world title or the Ultimate Warrior world title? Do you want the Terry Funk world title or the Sid world title? Now, the belt held by Ric Flair and Terry Funk and Dusty Rhodes is not your belt. Like, you didn't book that belt. Sid, Ultimate Warrior, that's your belt. You know who else held that belt? Bret the Hitman Hart. You know who else held that belt? Stone Cold Steve Austin, Shawn Michaels, Triple H. Like, you can rattle off a list of incredibly talented people. Bruno Sammartino held that belt. All of these incredible workers held that belt. And you don't have to bury it to lift the other one up. This business of which belt is more important is ultimately making both belts seem less. And it's really starting to get on my nerves a little bit, because for the past 4 months or so, we have praised, and I get accused of being a shill every 5 minutes, and I'm sure all the people who know how much of a Cody fanboy I am are having a dream right now. But like, the idea of the past 4 months, we've been singing their praises for building a Royal Rumble where there were like 5 or 6 potential winners. And hey, Drew, Seth, Cody, Sami Zayn, all of these people are up there. Punk, like, as potential top stars. They've done a really good job of building all these people. Like, look at the War Games, Babyface 5, and then Punk came out. And then in this one fell swoop, they've kind of like spit on all of that, Mm-hmm. And so that was the energy of Roman's promo kind of got on my nerves for that reason.
Yeah, as I said, like, I'm not one for just using your promo. Like, I get that it's all in character. Like, Roman believes this in the same way that Seth truly believes that the Universal title means nothing. And Roman, in character, fully believes that the World Heavyweight Championship means nothing. But also, like, the World Heavyweight Championship's the one that needs the most work in order to get the fans on side with it. I just don't think we should be using our TV time to be actively burying that belt. And I think we should be doing everything we can to elevate that belt.
That's it. So I just saw someone in the... I don't usually have the chat available to me, and I just saw someone in the chat say, Dan doesn't like when heels act like heels. No, I love it when heels act like heels. I don't like it when we bury the thing that you're asking for me as an audience member to buy into. And when you're trying to build a world title match. You're trying to build a 2-night WrestleMania, and you've got 2 world championships, and you want to make me feel that they are both worth it, then putting the other guy down, putting the other belt down. There's an artful way of getting in a neg or doing that. Doing it to your old world title is kind of, it's not effective. That is not effective heel work.
No. So Cody comes out because Cody was going to be on SmackDown. He's basically here to make his decision on who he's going to be facing for WrestleMania because he won the Royal Rumble. And he asks for the ring to be private. He doesn't want Jimmy and Solo in the ring. Obviously, Heyman stays in. And Cody says, look, I've had some counsel over the last week because Seth made some really good points when I spoke with him on Raw. So I've taken some counsel. I've spoken to current stars. I've spoken with producers. I've spoken with legends. And here's what the conclusion I've come to. I had you beat last year. If it wasn't for outside interference, I would be the champion right now. And you can call that belt whatever you want. That is still the belt. That is still the belt here. That is the belt that Bruno Sammartino held. That is the belt that my dad held before it was taken away from him at Madison Square Garden. I want to win your belt. It is the main belt. That is the belt that I want to win. I want to finish the story, but what does finishing the story really mean? You have said that all of this is yours. The ring is yours. The fans are yours. The ropes are yours. Everything around here is yours. So what if finishing the story isn't just taking a belt? It's taking everything from you. I want that title. I am coming for that title, but not at WrestleMania. One of the people I took counsel with knows you very well, and out comes The Rock. And The Rock and Cody shake hands, and The Rock whispers something into his ear, which is probably something like, back to the mid-card with you, kid. And Cody leaves the ring.
The Rock, it wasn't that. It was something very earnest about family and Mana.
It was probably something about $7. And he out walks Cody Rhodes. I'm being glib, by the way.
You are.
And Cody Rhodes leaves. And then we just have The Rock and Roman staring off against each other while the crowd chanted, "This is awesome." Which, in fairness, it is, because it's such a cool visual. And it is a match that we have wanted to see for the last 3 years. The Rock versus Roman Reigns, who really is the head of this table. So I think that in itself is really, really grand. And the one thing I think, a few people have pointed out, I've seen a few people say it in the chat here, and I'm sure there were people saying it in the UltraChats as well. Nothing's actually been announced yet. It has not been announced that it is The Rock versus Roman Reigns at WrestleMania. The only thing that's on WWE.com is Bayley versus Io Sky is a confirmed match for WrestleMania. WWE.com instead says Cody Rhodes made his shocking decision, choosing not to face Roman Reigns at WrestleMania, allowing The Rock to step up to the tribal chief, which would insinuate that it is The Rock versus Roman Reigns. But what we do know is it is for sure not Cody versus Roman at WrestleMania. And if it's not Cody versus Roman at WrestleMania, then the likelihood is it's Rock versus Roman Reigns at WrestleMania for the world title. Before I start asking my questions, let's go to the second half of this segment then, which is the Cody side of it. We talked about Roman. What did you make of Cody's promo?
It will come as no surprise to you that I love everything that Cody Rhodes does. When he does a promo, I believe him wholeheartedly. And ultimately, as you've been saying, we are, as fans ultimately want to believe that the wrestlers believe what they're saying. Like, whether or not I think it's the truth, whether or not they're telling things honestly to me, I want to believe them. And he has this weird way of, there was even something in the beginning of what he was saying. He said the word family and it sounded like Dusty Rhodes. Like he has learned from the best. He is very, very good at this. And I'm not just a Cody fan because it's the in thing or whatever. I'm a Cody fan because he made the earnest blue-eyed babyface get over in 2022, 23, 24. Like, that works. And for me as a wrestling fan, there was an article by Michael Sidgwick about how wrestling has become so homogenous that a lot of the matches feel the same. And so it takes a specific person to come out and do something and make it work. because by going back to basics, because you always talk about like that was a great PWG main event. How many times have we seen like the ROH influence come into NXT and all of that stuff? I think of Daniel Garcia over in AEW not reinventing the wheel, but going back to basics, and that's why he's working. That's what Cody Rhodes is doing in WWE. Do you know what I mean? So I think he's incredibly effective in that regard, and I love what he's doing. I can't look at this promo now without how it finished, because I could see him really trying to say, like, I was frustrated that he didn't point out that title was also held by Bret Hart. The reason that those people politic, the reason that the Hollywood people turn that into the Hollywood title or whatever, is because it is a belt of prestige. That belt is something that they see as a quick buck to Hollywood, whereas I see as what it truly is, which is a mark of greatness. Like, he was trying to say something like that, and it didn't fully come off. And then by the end of it, I'm already too busy, like, frustrated. I mean, like, yeah, the Rock coming out, the little goosebumps, the Easter Island face that he has, where he looks quite literally like a rock, like standing at the ramp, staring daggers at Roman Reigns. The moment where he like pulls Cody in and whispers something, and Cody has a little smile on his face, and I know as a Cody fan all the earnestness that he has, and that like he's a very authentic person. I think Cody Rhodes. I don't know the guy, so I might be completely like he might have just sold me up the Swanee or whatever the phrase is, but I perceive him to be a very earnest guy. So there's something in that smile that he gives that I feel is a very honest thing. And then he's gone, and I don't understand why you as a writer, as a storyteller, are trying to insult my intelligence and say that this guy wrestled his heart out 2 years in a row to finish his story, and he goes, "Oh, I'm not going to do it at WrestleMania." Like,
because The Rock's going to do it instead. Yeah.
Like, that doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense for Cody's character, let alone not making sense for the rest. And like, as we'll get on into why this decision might happen or whatever, I recognize that this has been a very bad, no good week for abundant reasons. And the house of cards that they very neatly built has started to fall down in certain places. But it feels like rather than be logic and go, okay, well, how do we stem that? How do we reinforce that corner? They've just gone and got rid of all of that and pulled out a new pack of cards, and it's an inferior pack of cards. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely. I guess, we can kind of get into the ifs and whys and what next, I suppose, when we sort of talk about this. But like, Cody saying, "That's the belt I want. That's the belt I'm interested in. That's the belt I want to win. That's the belt that I consider to be finishing the story because that's the belt that my dad have." For me, means it is not Cody versus Seth at WrestleMania. It's not, because if it is, that's Cody going for what he's basically said is an inferior belt he's got zero interest in going for. So that is not a match I would do. I would be doing Drew versus Seth. I'd be pushing Drew to the moon and going for Drew going for that belt because Drew wants to win that belt. So I don't know what you do with Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania now. I've seen some people being like, oh, you do a triple threat. You do Cody versus Rock versus Roman. Cody said in this promo, "I'm not going for the belt at WrestleMania."
Yeah,
so
that's where I get a bit confused.
We're not going for a triple threat, right? Like, so I don't know what we're going to be doing next with Cody.
So this is where ultimately the problem lies, right? Because, and this is where I thought the House of Cards falling down thing comes into play, because every idea I am subsequently pitching that is not the thing that you have built to, and when I say built to, I don't necessarily mean the plan of the morning of WrestleMania 39 was WrestleMania 40, and they haven't built it the whole way through, but like, certainly over the past couple of months or couple of weeks, they've been building this idea of, can Cody go 2 in a row, finish the story? The whole billing of the 2K24 situation is about finishing the story, the legacy of WrestleMania. Like, that's kind of the things that they are telling us. Every alternate idea that I come up with that isn't Cody versus Roman for that belt at WrestleMania is inferior. It feels like a make good. So the thing that I came up with was, well, what if he goes for it at Elimination Chamber? And I know the report is that Roman isn't working Elimination Chamber, but well, the House of Cards are falling down. Suddenly you've got a big pot of money marked Brock Lesnar that isn't being used. I guess you could just push that on Roman Reigns and say, please, 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 oh, pretty please. Emirates is quite nice in first class. They have their own, you basically can fly in a studio. We'll pay for you to do that. Like, can you come over? I beg of you. They could do that, but then that kind of feels inferior. Not that we had a whole conversation about Elimination Chamber being a B show, and it's only a B show if you present it as a B show. Arguably, Cody versus Roman at Elimination Chamber is an A show marquee if we hadn't just taken it away from WrestleMania. And if you do that at Elimination Chamber, freeing the title up from Roman, so you can have Roman and Rock without a title on the line and give it a little bit more intrigue, because I don't think for a second any of us believe that The Rock is going to win that title at WrestleMania, then surely that then makes it feel like that's a make good rather than a... And for me, the most elegant and easy solution, and I look, the bad week was a massive lawsuit which had an immense amount of bad PR on the company. Within that, Brock Lesnar, who is kind of named, is a part of it. All the plans you've had for him now have to be put on ice, potentially indefinitely, potentially forever. And then I hate lumping these two things in one. It's purely by coincidence they happen within a few days of each other. CM Punk, your other big headliner, your other big marquee star, gets injured. So all of that throws all of your plans into question. So you stand there on Monday morning and you look at your cork board and you think, okay, well, how do we get a better solution? What is it? And you throw every idea out there, and I just feel like they've gone for the worst option. For me, it's such a simple solution to keep that going, but have The Rock all over the marquee advertising, all over your press conferences, all over everything, and just sort of say, yeah, you had me beat. Cody's out there. He's like, you had me beat last year. Oh, sorry, I had you beat. You cheated me, but I learned from my mistakes. You have your counsel. Guess what? I've got mine, and he knows you very well. The Rock is in his corner. The Rock is there to equalize Solo Sikoa and Jimmy Uso. The Rock is there to keep the tribal chief in check. And when Cody ultimately dethrones him, you have a made storyline for SummerSlam. It was such a simple and elegant solution to a difficult problem, and it feels like they've gone with the nuclear option, and it's not worked out for them. All you have to do is look at the negative. I've not seen a single positive response to this anywhere.
There are a few in our UltraChats, which we'll
Okay.
get to, momentarily and stuff. But we had a few people have pointed out. WrestleOps pointed this out on Twitter. This was about an hour ago. The Rock and Roman Reigns segment from last night's SmackDown is now officially WWE's most disliked YouTube video of all time, with over 200,000 dislikes in under 9 hours. So that's 57,000 likes, 200,000 dislikes over the course of those 9 hours. Now, that's really a nothing metric. It's just there is a lot of initial fan upset about this. That was what I saw, and that's why one of the reasons why we decided to do this promo, this episode today. Aside from the fact it's massive news, but people want to talk about this. And one of the things that I love about this channel and doing this podcast so much is I'm giving people the chance to chat with other wrestling fans and talk about this. We have got 3,500 people watching this live currently. They're all giving their thoughts, and we're going to be reading out your thoughts live on the air momentarily. So people want to talk about this. People are really, really quite angry and upset about this. And I think one of the reasons why people are angry and upset about this, it's not just that it's Cody not finishing the story. It's that there's a lot of it that just doesn't add up. This is a segment that's full of logic holes. All of Cody's promo was set for him to say, I'm coming for that title and it will be at WrestleMania. And then just being but why on earth would Cody, this character of Cody Rhodes, who spent the last 2 years talking about finishing the story, to win the Royal Rumble back-to-back years, and then say...
First time in 25 years.
First time it could be lol, nah, actually, I think The Rock deserves a chance The Rock deserves a chance to win that belt before I do. Because also, that's the other side of this. We can do Cody versus Roman at Elimination Chamber. That is, of course, always on the table. But the Rock and Roman segment ended with Rock holding the belt with Roman holding the belt in the air, which is a visual indicator. This is a title match. This is The Rock coming for the WWE Championship and the head of the table status. He wants the world title. So this is why would we then do Cody at Chamber?
Because you're right in the way that that's a visual indicator, but The Rock has never said the championship, so there's every argument that they do just a match and the title is not on the line. But again, that's another thing where it feels to me, well, that's what you're telling me, that means that Roman Reigns will have defended the world title 3 times since last year's WrestleMania, and he won't do it this one. I don't get that. Then also you've got the whole. I had a complaint on Monday about the idea of Becky versus Rhea potentially being a main event now that Punk is injured. My argument was very simply, well, then Becky should have won the Royal Rumble rather than Bayley. If you're not going to go with Bayley, if you're going to have two potential winners of the Royal Rumble this year, and neither of them are going to be in either of the main events of WrestleMania, night 1 or night 2, and I personally believe that night 1 and night 2 can feel like separate main events. What's that Royal Rumble for then? Like, that's the mechanic. There's so many logic holes in this, and that's what's so frustrating, because I actually feel like, look at this time last year and see the amount of logical consistency that went through the entire road to WrestleMania. They actually did a really good job of this period last year. They have done a really good job of other periods elsewhere. And that's what frustrates me, is that this now feels like, what? Like, that makes no sense to me. And it's not even necessarily in a blue. It's not even necessarily in a case of like, oh, like, cry your tears, Cody, whatever. It's like, it's just like, it doesn't make any sense. Yeah. It doesn't make any sense. It wouldn't make sense to me if you could just about persuade me that Cody might go after Seth Rollins. You can just about find an explanation. If you sell it well to me, and I believe that if there are two people who are able to sell me that story, it's Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins, right? But this one, I'm like, what?
So yeah, this is Meltzer's report on the situation. So people will take that however they want to read this. The report has always been that Rock versus Roman is a match that is going to happen this year because The Rock really wants to do it. But The Rock really wants to do it at WrestleMania. Problem is that we've been building a story for 2 years where The Rock can't do it at WrestleMania, so we might do it at Saudi Arabia instead. But Rock has been pushing backstage, I want to do this at WrestleMania. I think WrestleMania is the time to do this. So that was the report literally on Friday when the Observer newsletter came out. Sean Ross Sapp's going to have an update on Fightful, because going by Sean's reaction to this is a last minute call. And so Sean's going to have a big Fightful report about this coming up soon. If it drops while we're on air, maybe we can recap some of it there. But go subscribe to Fightful Selects, best $5 in the business. Apart from WrestleTalk's Patreon, where we just posted a 4-hour review of Royal Rumble 2014, which I'd highly recommend people go and check out. Yes, indeed. But here's what Meltzer said on the Figure 4 boards yesterday, shortly after the show. Cody versus Roman, he's written here, it was the plan on the night, the Royal Rumble. It was the plan the next day. It wasn't the plan the day after that. Dwayne pushed super hard for this. Read last week's issue and this week's issue. The card changed when Punk and Brock were out and all the dominoes fell. Dwayne already wanted it, and they felt now they need it as well. Felt this was better to change the news flow away from Vince. Cody was the plan. Dwayne was going to face Roman later, maybe next year's Mania, maybe Saudi Arabia. The Vince thing ends up worse than they thought, and they changed the plan. I literally didn't know until yesterday that it could change, and then I was told under lock. But 100% it was Punk versus Seth and Cody versus Reigns until Punk got hurt. One of the funniest things I've seen about this, I've seen a lot of people's reactions to this. The funniest one I've seen so far is that Domino's meme. Where you have sort of like
little one and the big one,
the little one and the big one, and obviously the big one is Cody doesn't finish the story, and the tiny one is Jack Perry saying Jack Perry wants to use real glass.
Yeah, I
mean,
mean,
it's led us into this situation.
Wild to think about that, but like, so I read that the post from Meltzer as well, and the thing that really strikes me is that when they talk about the bad press and move the news cycle away from Vince now. It was but a week ago or so, 2 weeks ago, that they had the Netflix NYSE deal. The Rock is standing right there, and Vince is 2 people down. Now, like, it's not that far removed from the current story. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's not going away. This argument that they can just sort of close their eyes and run forward is like a bit mad to me. And then also the whole
just to stop you there. In fairness, ESPN are covering this.
Sure.
Like the mainstream outlets are covering that The Rock is going to be headlining WrestleMania against Roman Reigns for a title. Yeah. And it's funny, like after the Vince thing happened, I'm pretty sure it was Ollie Davis who I was talking to about this. Like, it might have been someone else. It might have been on a different show I was on, or someone else was saying, being like, just have The Rock win the Royal Rumble, because you know what that is? Bigger news. Like, that is a more positive bit of news that you can put out there. And that should, in theory, push eyes away from all of the Vince stuff and push it onto the positive side of things. And, you know, they announced The Rock is going to be facing Roman Reigns. All of a sudden, the mainstream coverage is going towards that. They're not talking about the Vince thing. So that's kind of one of the business reasons to do this.
And again, I can see that. Now, I would also be frustrated with that, I think, because again, and this is where what I was about to say was that I watched the CM Punk vlog last night. I don't know if you've seen it. It's on YouTube. They did a vlog of his whole week, and it ends with him giving a very emotional and very, again, like for all his faults and for all that CM Punk is like an up and down guy, I really believe him when he sort of says that this is what the locker room should feel like. When it's showing him talking to the kids from NXT, when it's showing him talking to Cody, talking to Jade, talking to Bayley, to Kota Kai, like all of these people. Xavier Woods is in there as well. I really believe him when he says that locker room is what the business is supposed to be.
Agreed.
If you want to move away from the Vince story, I can't see a better argument that this business is moving past that era. This business is moving past those people than by having your new top guy be the main event of WrestleMania. And instead what you're doing is looking back to a period. You want to see The Rock's highlights. Well, the next segment, Vince is in it. And I'm not trying to throw away The Rock's entire career. It's a very thin line between what I'm saying and that's a big jump. But like, I just feel like you could make such a statement about the future, and instead that it reeks of panic buying in a way.
Mm-hmm.
And I like ultimately business is going to be business. The fact that those fans stood there and chanted, "This is awesome," and look, it was an incredible visual, and I can't help it when I see a crowd roaring like that is one of my favorite sounds in the world. So I feel that, and I imagine at WrestleMania, well, it could be, but the last time Roman Reigns and The Rock stood in the ring at Philly together, it didn't get received very well.
No, it did not.
But like, it's so frustrating. I think that's I can understand it, and I can remove my fandom from it and look at it from a business perspective, look at it from a money perspective, a mainstream attention perspective. I can see all of it and I can understand their arguments. But from a storyline creative perspective and from a fan engagement perspective, this don't make no kind of sense.
That's where I separate myself out here, because I get it from a business point of view. I also get the argument that I've seen when people have jumped to the defense of this is that WrestleMania is for the mainstream audience. So if you want to have a mainstream audience come in, why not have one of the biggest mainstream stars you have in The Rock be in the main event? I get that. I absolutely 100% get that argument. I get that this is a business choice. I get that. I get that Punk got hurt and you want to move away from the Vince thing. So you're going to do something like this to shift the narrative, control your narrative, if you will, in an EC3 and Braun Strowman way. I absolutely understand that. This promo segment was not the way to get to that endpoint, though, because this segment set up a different match. Yeah. And you had the Royal Rumble set up a different match. The ending of the Royal Rumble was Cody pointing at Roman and saying, "It's you, bud."
And it was so fire. It was so good.
It was so good. But now, 1 week later, he's gone on that show and being like, actually, it is you, just not at WrestleMania, not on the biggest stage I could possibly have a match with you. I guess I'll just do that a different time.
Hey, here Backlash France is coming up.
Backlash in France. I'll do it a Bash at Berlin, maybe.
Yeah.
And I saw someone make this comparison, and I'm not really sort of like a whataboutist sort of, but I think this is quite a good comparison piece to it, which is that Austin won the 97 Rumble, but he didn't get the world title match at WrestleMania. He then won the 98 Rumble and did get his title match against Shawn Michaels. Now imagine if Austin won it back to back, went up to Shawn Michaels and said, actually, do you know what? I think Hogan should get a shot at this belt instead, and I'll just face you a different time.
Yeah.
No, the time was then. The time was like absolutely now. We need to put the belt onto Austin. We need to strap the rocket to him. He is the guy we need to go with here. You have this with Cody. I get the business argument, but the story argument is that this is we've been telling the story for 2 smegging years. I'm ready for us to get to the next part of this. I know I've been making my jokes, and I even joked with you earlier about this today when we were sort of about like, Cody ain't finishing this story. And I was like, no, he's beating Hogan's record. Like, he's beating Hogan's record, brother. I've been saying it for the last couple of months. I really feel like now we're just keeping this belt on him for a little bit longer. We can break Hogan's record, and then maybe Cody can beat him. Maybe that's the SummerSlam match. Maybe they'll do that in Saudi Arabia. I don't know. But this segment sets up you wanting to see Cody versus Roman so Cody can finish the story, but we've now got a new stopgap in Rock versus Roman, which Rock ain't gonna win, and then we can get to Cody versus Roman at another time, maybe even next year's Mania. Maybe Cody will become the first person to win 3 Rumbles back to back, and we can then.
But by that point, what will it mean? That's the thing. Like, ultimately, these things don't mean anything unless you give them meaning. So if he doesn't go for the title, and he could go for the title and lose it again, and then it's like, right, I'm gonna, and there's something. By the way, can I just say I've never seen a Rocky film? I've seen so many people talk about the like, it was all those tributes have been lovely, but Bubba Ray Dudley, Bully Ray was, and I know whatever, but was on something saying like how Cody should lose again. I want to see the Rocky story, and I'm like, see other films wrestling. Like, I'm begging you.
Also, I would like hasten to add to correct Bully Ray there. In Rocky 2, he does win the belt. That's the plot of Rocky 2. Spoilers for Rocky 2. He doesn't do it in the first one, then he does win it in the second one. That's the plot of Rocky.
I don't know, but it's giving big Boss Baby vibes. Like, hey, this is giving big Boss Baby vibes. Like, see the movies. There are other stories we can tell.
But Rocky is the boss baby of wrestling.
Yeah, literally. Incidentally, I have also seen that Cody is going to be at SmackDown, or he's advertised for SmackDown next Friday. So look, what I wouldn't give for Monday to roll around and for us to start our podcast with egg all over our face, and it turns out it worked. That's a possibility. I recognize that. I hope. I don't know.
Look, if this is on Raw, this whole ship gets turned around again. Absolutely credit to them, because they're going to have a tough time looking at the backlash that this segment has had and this news has had from, let's be honest, the hardcore fan base. The hardcore fan base that are amped up enough to go to YouTube and dislike a video. Like, that is the hardcore of the hardcore. If this, and it comes on Monday and it turns out that we were all wrong, then credit to them for turning that ship around. I think they're going to create, a pretty uphill battle to turn it around, but I don't discredit that they can't do it, because I think that they can. But I get the feeling that this is just where we're going. It is just going to be Drew versus Seth for the world title, and it's Rock versus Roman for the universal title, and Cody can do something else. Maybe Cody can face Gunther. Maybe Cody can face Dominic Mysterio. Maybe Cody can be a former tag team and go for the tag belts again. Maybe he the special guest referee in the Jimmy and Jay match. But I'll let it play out, kid, and I will let this play out. But And here's the other thing I would say to that, to the let it play out crowd, because I actually think we are in an era of WWE where let it play out is a credible argument to give.
I agree.
Let it play out. I agree. But letting it play out does not undo bad decisions.
Yeah. Also,
I was going to say this about the Seth promo as well. If the Seth, like, I was thinking about this on the way home after we did that podcast. If the Seth promo of Cody could cut this awesome promo on SmackDown that elevated both titles, and it would have been like, Luke's a dick because he thought that the Raw promo was bad. It's like, well, yeah, I mean, I did think the Raw promo was bad, and that does, put some egg on my face. It doesn't undo that it was a damaging promo, though. Like, that is still a bad choice there. So the let it play out crowd, I think, have got some grounds to stand on here. But I think that it's not going to fully undo what this segment did.
Also, just one final thing, because I have just seen it in the chat. Someone said, when did Cody Rhodes' story become winning at Mania? All he wanted was to be WWE champion. I'll tell you when it became winning at Mania. Saturday. Literally this 1 week ago, when he won the Royal Rumble, pointed at that sign and then pointed at Roman Reigns and shouted his name. It's not like we, as people who watch this all the time, are constantly digging for info and trying to pretend that we know things that were the plans. They said it to us. They said it to us on television. That's what it was. Yeah. So yeah, I have been the flag bearer for the let it play out crowd since last WrestleMania. But there comes a point where it's a little bit of humiliation kink. Like, I don't want to be like, come on.
Yeah, I get it. So that's the segment. Those are sort of our general thoughts on this. We'll get into your thoughts. I want to say as well, obviously, this is an unplanned SmackDown review that we've done. I don't think it's going to be a traditional SmackDown review. I think what we'll do is probably do all of your old chats, then we'll briefly run down everything else that will happen. We won't do like a full play-by-play thing. On this show, Bayley got kicked out of Damage Control, which I really thought
credit to that segment. That segment was great. It was
I thought it was
great, but it was great.
I thought it came probably a few weeks too early in the story. I'm really surprised that they did it on this show. I really thought we were going to eke that out for a few more weeks. Post Elimination Chamber would get the announcement there, but no, Bayley's been kicked out of Damage Control. It's Bayley versus EO. Bayley being babyface again, and you've got Pete Dunne and Tyler Bate getting a tag win because they're doing a tag title thing for Elimination Chamber. Yeah, it was a good show. Mariah May. I do apologize. Tiffany Stratton is now, and I did not do that to be a big smarky.
That was the worst slip.
That was the worst slip, and it was genuinely not intentional. I'm a big Tiffany Stratton fan. That was not an intentional flub. Tiffany Stratton signed with SmackDown. They're teasing Bron Breakker going between Raw and SmackDown. Jade Cargill is likely signing with SmackDown. This was a stacked old show, but it was. Man, all of this is overshadowed. But so we will kind of recap some of it, but I think let's get into the UltraChats on this one because I imagine it will create some more. Holy heckins, there's a lot. Right, here we go, everyone. Miles Tron says, "Hi guys, completely love the Bayley stuff. Not keen on The Rock. I'm usually the ultimate mark and love everything wrestling. So optimism tells me that Cody goes for belt unification at SummerSlam, hoping for a big twist here."
I was kind of becoming attached to the idea of a triple threat match at Mania. And he says, well, hang on, you're both wrong. Neither of you value your titles enough. I think they're lit. Can I have them, please? I was kind of into that.
Yeah. Justin Rock pulled that don't work for me Oos card and used his board's position to do the match at Mania like he wants. If it was always the plan, he should have won the Rumble. Feel bad for Cody because you could tell in his face last night that he was pissed. So I haven't gone into any of that stuff because I've seen a lot of armchair therapists or armchair people being like, oh, you can see on Cody's face here that he thought this in this moment. I'm not going down that road. It didn't feel like Cody, but I don't think you can read into anything of what was on his face and how he feels about this situation.
Yeah, I agree. I think because there was also genuinely there was something about when The Rock is saying something to him, and I don't know. There was something in the smile, something in the look. Look, Cody did his best with what this segment was, but I think we all know when it doesn't make sense.
Psychic here says, super excited for Rock versus Roman. They finally get to tell the head of the table story they've been building towards. Seems like this means Cody versus Seth, which should be a good match as well. Just one bummer. I was hoping for Gunther would squash Seth.
You might still get it.
You might still get it. Can we actually have a poll, Mod Mother, if you can hear me? I think we should just do a binary choice. Are you excited for this? Are you excited for Rock versus Roman? Because I am. But I think there was a better way to get there than
this. Is the thing. Do I want to see Rock versus Roman? Obviously, I'm not dead. But I want to see the Rock versus Roman I want to see it with intrigue. I want to know whether or not Rock could beat Roman or Roman could beat Rock. But if you've got the belt in there and if the title's on the line, if the title's not on the line, well, maybe we'll talk. But then you've got to have the board member pin your world champion, and it's a bit like, oh.
Yeah, well, that's the thing is but people there's someone there in all caps. I'm excited about this. Yeah, I'm excited about The Rock versus Roman Reigns. It's a match that I've been we wanted to see for the last couple of years. Of course, I'm excited to see it. I just think there was a better way to get to this that didn't include smegging off Cody's of winning the Royal Rumble. I think there was a much better way to get to this match. We should have been doing this 2 years ago, really, or whenever it was. Wet Day Timetable says, I think Punk gives Cody a pep talk on Raw to turn this into a three-way. Rock gets gas cutting promos and Roman's jaw-jacking can't carry the match alone. Cody beating Roman is good, but Cody beating both with Rock raising Cody's hand is a victory. In victory is a moment. Yeah, I guess. But Cody was quite clear that he's not going to WrestleMania here. But, hey, you can always just change your mind on that. Tyrone says, as a writer/wrestling fan, I find this abhorrent. Keep telling myself it's just wrestling, but Cody's story is this amazing journey, and he's brought the fans along with him for the last 2 years. A betrayal of the character, and somehow has ruined my #1 dream match.
Yeah, I think that's the thing. It's and to some wrestling fans, I get that it might sound a bit smarmy to be like, as someone who's done writing for a job, but like also it's narratively nonsense, and that is what ultimately we're watching. We're not watching a real sports athletic competition. We're watching the world's most athletic soap opera, and you've just done something that's it's jumped the shark. This for a lot of people, Jimmy returning to the bloodline was jumping the shark. I could kind of understand that. Cody getting a WrestleMania title shot and saying, "Nah, The Rock can have it," makes no kind of sense.
Yeah, and like if you do go into the thing of like, oh, someone convinced him to make it a triple threat at Mania, it still makes him look pretty stupid on this episode of SmackDown where he just let The Rock have his match instead, and then someone else had to convince Cody to make it a triple threat. Like, I don't think that's narratively satisfying either.
You could, I guess, again, there's some drama, there's some dramaturgy that you can do where you can be like, oh, Cody's the ultimate company man. He's proving he's the ultimate company man. And then Punk has to come in and be like, you told me you were a CM Punk. Be CM Punk then. Disrupt it. You are the great disruptor. There's stuff that you can do. And again, I'm always, this is my toxic trait. I'm always believing that I can fix them. I'm always believing, no, just let me in. I can be the one who'll be there. I'm always imagining being there with the corkboard. But
yeah,
it's just, you don't need to do it. You don't need to.
So Kid Cudi here, I'm going to point out some of this is slightly mean-spirited, I would say. But here's what Kid Cudi has to say. Oh, man, Cody not winning the belt that I want him to. Now the whole WrestleMania is going to be bad. I'm not watching WWE because they never listen to the fans and blah, blah, blah. I'm glad your impatient negative fans are miserable. I wanted Cody to wrestle Roman, but I'm not going to go as far as to say some of the bad faith takes out there. Those are the same people that will be waiting to turn on Cody as soon as he beats Roman. But people, it's not like he died. He's still going to get a main event match. So chill out and shut the F up, crying while the adults in the room continue enjoying the show. WrestleMania is going to be lit. Well, enough time on lames. How about SmackDown? Show was great. Please give Bayley positives. The segment as much as you can give to Cody's. Just wanted to make something clear, though. I'm not talking about anyone in general. Well, maybe SRS for rambling, but online fans are so damn annoying. Once they get what they want, they just move on to the next thing. Much love, guys.
Now,
one thing, because I point this out every single time that I see people say these things. When people talk about online fans, Kid Cudi, I'm just going to remind you, how did you send in that UltraChats? We're all online, bud. We're all the IWC. What do you think we're on? This is the internet. Yeah. We're all in the same thing.
There is, though, a pocket of fans who I think are, and this is not just in wrestling, this is in every fandom. There's a pocket of fans who have that kind of inherently like pissy reaction. There are pockets of fandoms everywhere. There is something, I have seen a lot of negative crisis talk fans, and I don't for once think that they're wrong. Do you know what I mean? I think there is something about this which does feel like, hang on. And I think it's because it feels like a slap in the face. It feels like you just told us something and then you're insulting our intelligence. That's where it comes off. If you just want to watch the television show and you don't really care about the continuing stories, and for you, if you just go with it, you had a nice time and then you moved on with your day, great. That's a fantastic way. I play Fantasy Premier League and I see some people in the Fantasy Premier League who have a really bad week and it ruins their whole day. I don't give a crap. It's quite funny. When Man United lost 7-0 to Liverpool, that's an awful thing. But I also was like, whatever. And I moved on with my day. Like, but there are layers of fandom, you know, like it's, and also this just doesn't make no kind of sense.
Can I also just another big request to our audience? We've got like 4,500 people in the chat here.
Jesus,
so
hello.
Please do respect everyone's opinions. Let's not turn this into a big old argument amongst ourselves. It is great to have debates. It is great to have arguments. That is part of the fun of being a fan of something. But be respectful of other people's opinions. That's what I would ask.
Look, it's not about scoring points, ultimately. Yeah. Like, it's not about who has the hottest take and who has the most, like, you know, whoa, like, that's not what we're doing here.
Andy here says, I'm gobsmacked. Cody's done an incredible job of keeping me invested so much. I went into WrestleMania 39 like everyone else, ready to witness a changing of the guard, and was ready to stop watching over such a stupid decision. But Cody Rhodes is literally the greatest legitimate babyface of my generation. Through all the boring S I've had to sit through, for Cody to bring me back time and time again, through Brock, through a tag title win, only for a stare down with Roman, through a 6-month build to War Games, through a 3-month build to Royal Rumble, to win the Royal Rumble back to back, putting him in the upper echelon of all-time WWE superstars, to get here. The reality is, if they decide that he is the main event and this is some convoluted dumb angle to get there, or they pivot back, this is a significant stumble and fall. Can they pick themselves up again? Absolutely. But I'm always going to remember this stumble because pro wrestling always has a way to get to the most dramatic decisions in real life. I'm fully expecting to read later on that Cody Rhodes never signed with WWE and he's going to leave the company over this kind of situation. Overall, as a pro wrestling fan, I'm just bummed. Sorry for the spam, fellas. Absolutely not. I mean, that's a huge, huge donation to get your Ultra Chat in there. So thank you very much, Andy.
Also, what's spam? A lot of it makes sense.
Yeah, a lot of it does make sense. Adam here says, if I was AEW, I'd pull the trigger on the Swerve Joe program. Wrestling fans might be looking for an alternative right now. Don't want to take away from Bayley, who was great, but boy, does this feel like Bizarro World. Not even a promo, just a stare down. It's hilarious that the WCW comparisons feel valid for both major companies, AEW attendance and Rock going full NWO. I get the companies in a panic mode, but instead of turning their pool of main eventers, they turn to the past, and that makes me sad.
I think that's it. It's like you've got a here and now. I don't think you can argue that Cody is anything other than the guy at this stage. He gave that incredibly impassioned speech at the press conference I was listening to on the way home from a watch party, and I was like, yeah, as a Cody fan, we've been through a lot. Yeah. And like, also he sells the most merch out of anybody. Like he's a top guy. He gets the reaction. The people in that, for all the people who were cheering and like you can claim it was piped in or whatever, but if you can see people responding in the crowd, like in the hard cam side, then it probably is, you know, at best emphasized, but it's there. Cody gets chance. Cody gets the fans on his side. Like he's the guy. I'm sorry, he's the guy. Book it.
Mayor of Painesville Dan says, well, that didn't last long. Dan, Luke Day. Hope you guys are doing great. I'm undecided. Big box office draw versus the Road Story finished. Poor Triple H. Don't know how I would have decided. P.S. Much love and all the best to Andy Datson. Yeah, if you didn't see any announcement, Andy Datson is unfortunately leaving us here at WrestleTalk. So we do wish all the best for Andy as he moves on to new projects.
And also,
I
was just going to say, I hope that Sat and Tempest are enjoying a lie-in because they deserve it. Like,
yeah. Absolutely. Roach here says, I understand the situation with Vince and Brock, but being out of the company causing a change in storylines. But what was the point of Cody winning the Rumble and pointing to Roman in the stands if that wasn't the plan at all? We're flinching here, mate. What the F? Well, that's the thing there, Roach, then by all accounts. This was the plan pretty much up until a few days ago, Tuesday. Maybe even, Tuesday, whatever it was. But the plan was, because I've seen a few people say like, well, Cody was never supposed to win the Rumble either. No, Cody was always supposed to win the Rumble. If Cody wasn't supposed to win the Rumble, why did he have a t-shirt backstage that said Royal Rumble winner Cody Rhodes that had been printed for him?
I did hear that they had several t-shirts, but I also feel like again, and this is the other reason that it gets on my nerves, because it makes me look like a chump when I've been there praising long-term planning. They have done that. They have done long-term planning. This time last year, they were doing long-term planning. We had the report of what every single main event was going to be, and it came good. And that was a really effective road to WrestleMania. Put me in the bin.
Raymond here says, I'm never going to stop beating this drum. Cody should have won last year.
I do feel like a lot of the issues disappear if Cody wins the Rumble. Wins the main event at WrestleMania last year. I understand that some people don't agree, but I don't think that Roman has had an effective match since, I'm gonna say, Money in the Bank.
Yeah, I agree.
And at Money in the Bank, I was actually kind of like, well, yeah, I guess it's coming good and they're being proved right. That was a good shout. But I'm now looking at that entire stretch and potentially past WrestleMania without a title defense, or at least without me feeling like the champion might lose any peril for him. You know,
Oathkeeper says, I'm clearly in the minority, but I don't mind this. It's clearly a rock in case of emergency situation with 3 of the 4 biggest matches having to be changed. Cody doesn't need Mania. He just needs Roman and he'll get him. It's just a matter of when.
It's just that in response to that one, sorry, Luke, but in response to that one, when Punk came back and we were talking about, Punk, Rock, Roman, all of those things, like when the Rock said head of the table, we were talking about that, and I said, well, he could do Elimination Chamber. Everyone was being like, no, you put it on at Mania. Mania is the big one, and you're saying there that Cody doesn't need Mania. Pick a lane.
Bringer said, how did the council go, don't finish your story, don't main event, don't achieve your dream, just give me the spot. It makes Cody look dumb, and that makes me sad. That is in fairness. Like, that is, if Cody's advice from The Rock was, mate, don't achieve your dream. Give it to me instead. And Cody was like, that's a really good idea, Rock. I'm really glad I came to you for this advice. Dibyo, this is the worst timed booking of all times. I would watch Roman Reigns versus The Rock literally at any other time than the last hour of WrestleMania 40 Night 2. Those few minutes were earned by Cody Rhodes. Charles Cassis has been a member for 29 months in a row. Says, I'm not sure if I would have had Roman just bury Seth's title. This plus the two Rumble winners pretty much saying SmackDown has the titles they want. Yeah. Zach
Bayley's made sense.
Yeah, Bayley's makes complete sense. I really enjoyed that Bayley segment. I thought it was awesome. I'd have just done it in 4 weeks' time, but I thought it was a really, really great segment. We've got a second one in from Dibyo that's saying the same thing previously. And Zach here says, if we only knew this is where we were going at the Rumble watch party last weekend, no one wins in this scenario. Way to paint yourself into a corner.
And again, it's an own goal. They don't have to. Like, Cody didn't have to mention WrestleMania at all. Cody didn't have to... they didn't have to do it.
Stephen here said, I've been a big defender of the decision to have Roman win last year. The chase is the best part of the story, I told myself. What does that make me now? A stupid idiot. That was their UltraChat. That wasn't me answering the question. Mason here says, massively dislike the title holders talking trash on each other's titles and not to each other. It doesn't build either title and only gives you reasons to not hold either title higher. It's a bad idea, in my opinion. Doesn't help Gunther's title mean any more anyway. Well, I mean, that is the one thing I'm fully pretty much set on. I wouldn't have done either of the promos you had with Seth and Roman where you're just burying the other title. Would not have done that. Amy here says, call it delusionally hopeful, but I hope it's a swerve. Cody said he's coming for everything. It would be weird for him to come for the title as tribal chief. He needs The Rock for that. What if they're working together? It's always possible.
I will huff the hopium with you.
Yeah. Kuzu here says, I think what makes this worse is the inevitability of it all. When Rock came back last month, we all knew what was going to happen, but we desperately wanted to believe otherwise. And here we are. I'm not angry or even sad. I just feel empty. XVG Dylan, WWE either have to WrestleMania 30 this story or the last year has been a complete waste of time. Everything Roman did after Mania last year did not require the world title, and everything post SummerSlam has been underwhelming.
I agree.
Char Gray 15. I started looking back at some old Shield promos last night and saw Roman's one about leukemia. Made me realize how lucky we are that Roman is able to have this long reign. Honestly blessed. Also, effing Dwayne, bro. I think that's in support of this decision.
But like, also, that's very true. Like, all the frustration here. And again, how many times are we going to say Roman versus Rock is a match that we want to see? Like, that's not the issue here. It ultimately is in the intelligent storyline making, which has not been.
Anthony, I'm not a fan of the decision. The YouTube video already has 900,000 plus dislikes, so that's obviously grown since the last time we talked about this. We do Rock versus Roman at Elimination Chamber, Cody versus Roman at Mania. Update, I was wrong. The YouTube video has 200,000 plus dislikes in 9 hours. So I was right in my research. Ked here, seeing Rock beat Punk at the Rumble really upset me. That's obviously back in 2013? Was that 2013? Yeah. Seeing Rock take Cody's place upsets me just as much or even more. I'm soured on The Rock since 2013, and WWE somehow managed to make me hate him even more. I hope it's just a swerve.
Hate is a strong word. I feel like I've seen a lot of I hate The Rock. I've seen a lot of this, and it's just like, for me, it doesn't go that particular emotion doesn't go that deep.
GATvo says they sold their future for nostalgia. Cody looks like an idiot. Rock steals the new face again. The outcome is predictable. Devalued the World Heavyweight Championship. The weekly TV show is shown to be worthless. All done in 15 minutes. How is the pipe bomb still relevant? Jared here says, sorry, do you want to add on that one?
No. I it's just, that is it. Like, it's when you do that, that's the own goal, isn't it? Like, all of that in 2 short segments. I don't know. It's
Jared here says, I think the problem for me is less the match and more how we got here. If Cody hadn't won the Rumble, I think the backlash would have been quieter. However, I'm excited for Rock versus Roman. My pitch would be for Gunther to face Cody for the IC belt. Still so excited. Yeah,
I mean, I want to see
the Rumble win. The Rumble win is the one that's kind of hurt a lot of this.
Yeah.
Dustin here says, I told you it was going to be Rocket Mania months ago. I just wish they would have went with my idea and they put the belt on Randy Orton. Any chance this could be a swerve and we get a Daniel Bryan style issue with fan support and Cody gets added into it for a triple threat?
Hey, like here's the thing. Again, I'm like, well, what if they had like The Rock versus Roman at night one, and it's not for, and if you beat me, then I don't know. But then all of it falls apart. Like it's all overbooking. You don't need it.
Yeah.
We don't need it. Like the Daniel Bryan thing kind of made sense. Like it was very much a retconning, but it made sense. Get through me, get into the main event on the same night, pull double duty. It's the authority business. It's beating every member of Evolution. All of that makes sense.
It would be hilarious though if it does end up being a triple threat, and like the reason it was a triple threat at WrestleMania 30 was because Punk left, and we're going to be looking at WrestleMania 40, and the reason it's a triple threat is because Punk got hurt. Punk's the catalyst, man.
Also, I don't know if it's going to be in the UltraChats, but we have had in the past people be like, every big WrestleMania has 3 championship challenges, blah, blah, blah. Like.
I pray that Cody meant to say he was going to dethrone Roman at Chamber instead of Mania. Otherwise, Cody has just been screwed. Justice for Cody. I mean, yeah, the WWE.com makes it abundantly clear he has sidestepped WrestleMania. And he is not picking WrestleMania to face Roman. I don't know if his Royal Rumble win still counts then. Like in terms of he could just cash that in for SummerSlam. Because then didn't you say, the winner gets a shot at WrestleMania, right?
Yeah, it's
not Money in the Bank.
This is it's just nonsense. Just nonsense.
Omar here says Cody is made to look like an idiot who gave up his spot for Mania at Mania for The Rock. Seth looks like an idiot for suggesting his title is as important as Roman, since Roman isn't losing and we get more of a run that feels meaningless with each and every day. Frustrating AF. In addition, I don't really like the idea of Roman versus Cody at Chamber because I feel like Cody would win via Rock interference, which only serves to devalue his win, and the struggle would have been over a year he can't overcome. Little brother in Cody just isn't good.
Mm-hmm.
Patrick here said, The Rock is my favorite wrestler of all time, but I still can't help but feel upset about this. And as upset as I was, as my weekend has been redeemed when I saw that Luke and Dan made their TNA debut.
You were on TNA, bud.
I was. I made it onto TNA Impact. I knew I eventually would. It was only a matter of time. I told people in 2005, one day I'm going to be on this show. Hey, do you know what? I'll also say this. I'm going to put over TNA here. At least they credited us for our footage. WWE sure didn't. WWE didn't give us any credit for it. WWE didn't, TNA though. TNA put our name up on there. So thanks, TNA. Walker, to play devil's avocado, Cody's story isn't the main event story. It's the bloodline. There's 10 other main event level guys who have had the story screwed by Roman. We just latched on to Cody as the guy, but Drew was at Clash, Sammy was at Chamber. Let Triple H cook. Also, to find the smallest of silver linings in all of this, I can't wait to see what Drew is going to say on Raw.
Drew has been killing it as a little git on the internet over the past week. He's been absolutely spectacular. I know you're playing devil's avocado, but the problem with playing devil's avocado is that you have to present an alternative idea that has weight, and the alternative idea here, it falls apart because he won the Royal Rumble like a week ago.
It's less than a week ago, really. Moby here says, my issue with Roman's promo is that he tries to bury Seth in the World Heavyweight Championship, but Seth is right. It's a Hollywood title that people politic backstage for. And I came out of the show caring less about the WWE title more than ever. Drew, the best heel, wants the World Heavyweight Championship anyway.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have done those promos, man. That's the one hill I will die on. It's the one hill I will die on. I wouldn't have done either of those promos. Bag of biscuits. As a huge supporter of Seth's title not being a consolation prize, this promo infuriated me. Seth's promo felt like a proper proof that his title was worthy of the main event, and this promo set it back to the bottom because WWE said it's for second place. Yeah. BB Nation, first time Ultra Chatter here. Is this them trying to intentionally create WrestleMania 30 2.0 by seeing if there's a groundswell of support behind Cody? Also, Luke and Dan are a pair of legends. Heart emoji. Thank you very much.
I did just have a thought on, so that one is interesting as well, the idea of like seeing if you get the groundswell of support. You've seen it all year with all of the merchandise. If they needed any more evidence. But like also, I'm in the same bargaining stage of grief as you are. But then the chat just above it, I didn't realize that we're sort of talking about it being a consolation prize or the second best prize. it's Cody's. If Cody does pick Seth, he's basically been like, I'll go for that one later because that's the one I really want. Like, I want one day I'm gonna get that, but like, I guess for now I'll take that one.
Well,
it just makes him look stupid.
That's what I was saying. I said that at the top of this episode. Cody can't face Seth for that belt at Mania. He literally said on TV, "I don't want that belt in effect because I want the other belts." Alistair said, sorry, I was just going to piggyback off your joke you were making there. Could you imagine if WWE were just like, I'm not sure about this Cody kid. I'm not sure if he really is as over as he thinks he is. Let's see if we can screw him out of WrestleMania and then see if the fans can get behind him.
The guy built your biggest competition. People care about him that much that there's an entire other industry.
Alistair here. So my vibe is, with all the allegations through this week and poorly handled press conference, WWE and TKO hit the panic button to create a massive story to distract the masses. That's kind of my feeling on it as well. Yeah. Undertaker is GOAT said Punk was supposed to win the Rumble, but he got hurt, so they had Cody win. Possible that Cody will fight Roman at Chamber instead of WrestleMania. Solo will try to interfere, then The Rock will stop him to give Cody the title, which sets up Rock versus Roman at WrestleMania. All right, point one. Cody was supposed to win the Rumble. Cody was always planned to win the Royal Rumble. Cody won the Royal Rumble because he was supposed to win the Royal Rumble. It's not because Punk got hurt. Point number two. Going by reports, I should add, but point number two. You could have done Cody versus Roman at Elimination Chamber, which I don't think is going to happen because Roman's not going to Chamber. But you could have done, in a hypothetical world, you could have done Cody versus Roman at WrestleMania and have him win the title. Do you know what you then do? Have The Rock come out to challenge Roman Reigns for a match at WrestleMania, as opposed to doing the Rock bit first and the Cody bit second.
Yeah, you're so right, because it does all of this makes Seth Rollins and Cody Rhodes look stupid. It makes them look also runs. And again, this goes back to what we were talking about right at the start with Roman and his speech and all the business with the belts and you wearing your wife's clothes and your belt, you work 10, I make more money than you and you don't get a pop and all that stuff. That's not heels being heels. That's just bad writing. That's just bad character work. It's ultimately making your stars look less star-like.
If you're going to do Cody versus Roman at WrestleMania, do you know what you do in this promo? Have Cody say, I'm not going to face you at WrestleMania because I can't wait till WrestleMania to do it. So I'm going to beat you for an Elimination Chamber in 3 weeks' time. I'm going to take you from you there. Then you'll face The Rock at WrestleMania. You want to do it that way, but you haven't done that. So if you now just have Cody be like, I'm going to challenge you at Elimination Chamber, it feels like it's a change of plan. It feels like that was never Cody's plan to begin with. Adam here says, it's my last message, I promise. The problem is that Cody needs to win at Mania, otherwise his defeat is greater than his victory, and then the story doesn't work. I think we'll be begging for a Roman loss until he surpassed Bruno's records. Hey, it's just 3 years. But he's only got 3 or 4 years left on that. So we're almost halfway there, mate.
I don't have that much time. I don't have 3 or 4 years left on this story.
I was going to say, I don't know if I'll be here in 3 or 4 years on this earth. Ruta Libre, not with my cholesterol. Ruta Libre has been a member for 27 months in a row. Says, do you think the briefcase will come into play somewhere in this match?
Could you imagine?
Could you imagine? Could you imagine convolute the story even more by having the Money in the Bank briefcase part of it?
Well, like the Rock has come and been like, Damien, give me the briefcase. You don't need the briefcase. I'll have the briefcase. He's just going around. He's gonna go down. He's gonna go down to NXT and be like, "Look, Lola Vice, come here. Give me your women's breakout shot. I need that more than he'll pass out to Ava. Like it's a whole thing."
Dragonheart says, haven't been this angry since Game of Thrones season 8. Does winning the Rumble not mean anything anymore? Can't believe Rock can be this selfish and manipulative. Cody, blood, sweat, and tears carried WWE only for Rock to screw him. This is not awesome.
You know how I know I've grown as a human being? I was broadly fine with the end of Game of Thrones season 8. And over time, I've realized. So I've now cut the bit where it was over time and I've just gone right to, no, that's stupid. I've grown.
My hot take that I tend to give people and I say it just to wind people up sometimes, that I think the season 8 of Game of Thrones was at the same level of quality as the previous seasons of Game of Thrones.
You want me to leave the stream right now?
Zareth has been a member, which I think is broadly fine. Zareth has been a member for 29 months in a row. Wait, you mean that Dan doesn't have a deep V sleeping shirt? Also, this seems like poor optics. I know The Rock is big, but the fans want Cody. Solomon here says, what if it's Cody versus Gunther? So he's a champ on the same show as Roman, then he spends the year becoming the guy on SmackDown, bigger than Roman, taking everything, then going for Roman's belt at Well, he would need to face Logan Paul to be on the same show because you need to win the US title to be on the same show. If he beats Gunther, he's still on Raw. I'm just marking.
Overbooking.
I'm just Marcus said, I hated this segment. They've now buried both their world titles and the champions and made Cody look kind of dumb. I had you beat, you cheated me. I want to finish the story and take it all from you, but not on the biggest possible stage. Thank you, moderators. Just to get the rest out of my system, I know this is good for business, no question. I just want them to elevate their champions and their world titles and also want to have stories that make sense. I feel like we aren't asking for too much. And that's really been like a Triple H has done that. Since he took over the book, what he's done is elevate belts and make stars and make people care about those belts. That's it. And I feel like it's all undone 2 promos. Like, and I haven't seen this much hatred towards Triple H's booking. And he's been on fire with the book in WWE since he took it over.
I agree.
But this is a stumble, but it's a real drop ball stumble. Moose here. Watching since 2020, nothing has ever made me this mad. The World Heavyweight Championship was called a consolation prize. Cody says he doesn't care about it, and he spoils Roman versus Rock because he said finishing the story is taking everything from him, not anyone else. This one segment undermined the Rumble, undermined the top phase, undermined a world title, and sort of undermined WrestleMania. All of my excitement is gone. I don't want to watch the show anymore. If Cody doesn't want to finish his story at WrestleMania, why enter the Royal Rumble? Why possibly get injured if you don't care to use the prize? It makes him look utterly stupid. I now get Pete from Mania last year.
Yeah, I haven't spoken to Pete today. Is he okay? Like, he might just be staring into a corner. Like, we've not checked on him.
I don't know if he's actually seen the show yet. Ajaz says... Chaz says, hi both. Just want to thank you for spending your Saturday to bring us this. This was not the end of SmackDown I expected. I'm not really a Cody fan, but he deserves to beat Roman for the title. What would the men's chamber at Elimination Chamber be for now? Shot at Seth? Or with
not if Cody's going to take it. If Cody's going to take that one. Like, I don't...
It says, even if Cody challenges Roman at Elimination Chamber, who would he face at Mania? Still makes no sense. Has to be Roman versus Cody. Dark73, lads, I sat here at last year's WrestleMania intrigued about what they would do with the Universal title. Sitting in now, I no longer care whoever Roman loses the title to, nor do I care if Cody wins the title off Seth. I'm done with WWE for the moment. Well, I'm not there. I'm not at that level of anger, I will say. Ben Flerick, The Rock could go F himself. I'm also not at this level either. I truly hate that man. I'm definitely not at this level. As a diehard CM Punk fan, this is the second time he's pulled this crap. F off already. Stay in Hollywood. I really, really, really hate that man. He's a crap actor too. The rage at this moment. I think he's a good actor though.
I think he's a good actor too.
I like both those Jumanji movies. L Reviewer Random says WWE has just told us that there's absolutely no point in getting invested in anything. What's even the point of Cody's story anymore? Remember when people defended Sammy losing because Cody was the one? P.S. Why build new stars? Am I right?
Yeah.
Koduri here said Seth will challenge on Monday to retire the WWE Championship at next year's WrestleMania and make the World Heavyweight Championship the championship. Crikey, that's a hell of a way to go. I mean, but
Seth's going to hold that belt a whole year.
I guess so.
I want some title changes, man. I'm so bored.
The field team leader says, I'm looking forward to Cody versus Seth at Mania 40. I wonder how they're going to beat Cody versus Seth at WrestleMania 38, or Cody versus Seth at Backlash, or Cody versus Seth at Hell in a Cell. Praying that our faith in Triple H pays off. Yeah. Metal Brand here says, Rock versus Roman is frustrating. In one segment, I've lost pretty much all interest in WWE. I've been invested in Cody Rhodes. I wanted him to win even over CM Punk. This is deflating. Cody deserves and has earned this spot.
I think the reason some people are being like, I'm done with WWE, I've lost all faith in WWE or whatever, and they're being that extreme is because you, as I said, you as a fan give a level of like respect and you expect a level of respect back. And at this point, it's like insulting our intelligence, and it just makes you go, oh, I can't be bothered. Honestly, if it wasn't my job to watch this much wrestling per week, I'd probably skip a couple of shows at this point. I'd be like, well, I'll just wait and see what happens over the next couple of weeks. I'm not going to tune in next week. Whereas like for a large portion towards the end of the year, especially, I stayed up to watch Raw a couple of times because I was so excited that I couldn't sleep with excitement.
Prime Suspect here said, let's be honest, nothing they did with the bloodline this year necessitated Roman having the title. Why are they forcefully trying to kill their top babyface story and spoil the result of both main events of WrestleMania? He should have won this belt last year. Cody, that is. Tony here says, me, a hardcore wrestling fan, my wife, a casual fan, both said WTF at the same time when The Rock came out. It makes no sense, and I completely agree. It ruins the credibility of both belts when they trash them like they did on Raw and SmackDown. Big Daddy Pingu here says, the problem with this is, I guarantee you, the people who are moaning now would be moaning in 10 years if we don't get Rock versus Roman now. I think people are too caught up in the Cody side to actually enjoy the story we're getting. Bad route, good story. I actually would swap that round. I think it's because, like, Rock versus Roman is something we have been building to. Well, I say building to. We've been talking about it for a few years. So I would say it's maybe it's good story, bad routes, right? Which is actually, that is what they said. Bad route, good story. Yeah, no, I agree then. Sorry, I misread. We're an hour and 15 minutes into this stream. I'm very sorry. I've got to go do the big shop in a bit. The Pops here says, Cody is advertised for SmackDown going forward. So there is some hope. Maybe he could clarify what's going on. Maybe they end up doing this at Chamber. Could also be that while he's being advertised for SmackDown, could just be dark match stuff.
Hashtag plans change.
John Cena was advertised for SmackDown a bunch when he came back, not the last time, but the time before that, and only did dark match segments.
Yeah.
Pavy Pants here says, I think Cody could have done better in this promo. He could have simply said something like, we all know that it's the man that makes the title. You, Roman, made the title, the Hollywood title. The WWE Universe deserves a champion that's always there to entertain them. That's what I thought the promo was going to be. Ghost Chaos said, I think this has to be a swerve. This would feel almost like a modern day Montreal screw job. I won't get that far. I can only hope that Cody... Yeah, I can only hope that Cody is playing some mind games with Roman Reigns and The Rock will officially announce the real challenger at WrestleMania 40. Like, this is... I remember when Baron Corbin was announced to be facing Kurt Angle at WrestleMania in his retirement match, and we had so many people be like, guys, it's a swerve. It's not going to be Baron Corbin. You're all getting worked. It's not going to be Baron Corbin. It's going to be AJ Styles. You're all getting worked. It couldn't possibly be Baron Corbin. Same thing happened with Kenny and Hangman at All Out when they announced it was Christian. Guys, you're getting worked. There's no way it's going to be Kenny versus Christian at All Out. It's going to be Kenny. You're getting worked. It's all a swerve. It's definitely getting this way. I'm getting a big flashbacks to those moments. Baptized Atheist. Now Seth's promo about politicking your easy way to that belt makes sense. By that point, they would have known about the changed plans. Yeah, maybe they'd gone by Dave's thing. Yeah, they would have known by Raw. Punk Rocks and Soda. WWE turned me around on Cody, but the longer the story has gone, the less I care. And Roman basically calling Seth's title the second place loser belt for losers who can't beat me, just for Cody to go, yeah, that one, please. Have at it, Rock. Not a good look. I mean, that's what I said when they first announced this belt. It makes it look like the loser's belt for people who can't beat Roman, because that's more or less what Triple H said in the promo when he announced the belt. The Decker Dane here, hello, mate, said, this seems like a bad knee-jerk reaction to Punk and other news. It seems to completely undermine the point of winning the Rumble. Whatever storyline logic is coming to justify it, it needs to be damn good, or this is an incoming wrestling car crash. Swedish Girls Rocks says, the relentless criticism of Triple H on Twitter is disheartening. Many rush to judgment without understanding backstage dynamics, assuming he's solely responsible because his role as Booker is unfair. Remember the Rock's backlash over Black Adam? I think he was a bit of a creative lead on that movie, though. Wooey says, I think I could be excited for Rock versus Roman if we were getting it in the early 2000s Rock. I'm not sure that 2024 Rock can last in a match, so I feel like we're in for an underwhelming Mania main event. Hey, look, a lot of Roman's matches now is you lay down in the ring while Roman George acts to the crowd. You can get around that. You can handle that. Very, very Dizzy said, it's so funny how quickly I can genuinely lose interest in WrestleMania. Dwayne has put WWE on the hook until his acting career failed him, and now he's come crawling back. At least Punk cut a good promo still without getting gas halfway through.
He's the most successful, highly paid actor. It's hardly failed him, but also I know what you're saying.
Yeah, he's had a bad run. Red, White, and Black said, Punk getting injured was a blessing in disguise, in my opinion. I was not into the idea of seeing Cody versus Roman 2. Plus, this match could culminate the end of the bloodline as well. This is the right call because of injury. Cody sucks. I don't agree with that.
Get in the bin.
I also remember we're respecting people's opinions, Dan.
No, get in the bin.
Victoria said, first time Ultra Chat, love you guys a lot. One argument I keep seeing is that The Rock will attract new fans' eyes on the product, but I'm a new fan. Cody has been pretty much the guy the whole time I've watched WWE, and this is the reason I've been so invested.
we do not have time for this conversation, so we'll have to save it for another occasion. But I have thought a lot lately about nostalgia being a hell of a drug and a money spinner. But what happens when you're nostalgic for a period of time where you were being nostalgic? Like, surely you got to make new stuff for people to be nostalgic over. Like, there's a reason that we don't get a Chris Masters return pop, although I would be interested in watching what happens when Chris Masters comes back. Like, it's build your new stars.
Prime Suspect here says, just a reminder that Daniel Bryan thing worked because it wasn't the plan. We forced him into that match. He was passionate about being in the match. Cody actively made the decision to give up that match. If he fights it to be a triple threat, then he's stupid. That's also true. Power Packers 90. Seriously, this kind of proves TK right a month ago. Minus the Twitter rants, obviously. Where's the logic here? Cody last year has beat Brock Nakamura Judgment Day, won War Games, drew, then won his second 30-man Rumble match. But Dwayne just decides after joining the board that he wants the Mania Payday spotlight and a pass the torch moment again to Roman. He gets the main event while not actually wrestling any actual full match in 11 years. So what is the whole year of this Cody finishing the story now? It means nothing. Mm-hmm. That, I think, is where a lot of the anger comes from. Mm-hmm. Connor here says, I wonder now if Sat is going to give away his Royal Jambo winner's shot to someone else. Oh, man, I might script that. I think that'd be really funny to have on the podcast.
Oh, you're going to step in and take it from him.
He's like, well, I mean, I was trying to pick who I was going to face, but I've sought counsel from a wise veteran in Iwalk. Goosebumps, brother. Goosebumps. Ghost Chaos here said, I'm hoping that it's a swerve. This can be the modern... Oh, we kind of had that one already. Manson Vestal says WWE did. Oh, I'm not skipping over that. It's a duplicated UltraChat. Mason here said WWE did this so that we could all talk about, so we could not talk about Vince's lawsuit. Look at us talking about this mistake instead of that. Honestly, I think we might have gotten it worked until they swerve us next week. Lobi here said, according to PW Insider not long ago, the plan is for Seth versus Cody at Mania. What? Is that now? Is that like today, according to PW Insider, that it's going to be Seth versus Cody? I've not seen that.
I'm terminally online and I haven't read that.
We have an unknown username here. Please do let our moderators know who you are. So this is Mania 39 and Royal Rumble 2014 all over again. You set up a great show only to take the wind out of the sails at the end. Rock Roman is a main event, but not at Mania. The only consolation is that we got top good boy Pharaoh the dog.
Yeah, I popped for Pharaoh.
Modern Mother has said that the report has been in the chat recently, so that might be today.
You keep reading. I'll look for some research.
So hold on. If your plan, I might get a bit heated about this, but if PW Insider's right, and your plan is to do Seth versus Cody at Mania, Cody's promo makes even less sense. That makes even less sense now. Because his promo was, I don't want that belt, I want your belt. Or does he just want all the belts? Does finishing the story mean I just have to win our belt? Does it mean that, well, that's a belt that I could win, but I also can win this belt over here that I'm not actually attached to, but I've got a Royal Rumble win, so I may as well do something with it. That makes even less sense. He won the Royal Rumble.
PW Insider this morning in a large, it's Mike Johnson saying basically the headline is what happened with the main event picture. It does say in it that the current plan is for him to face Seth Rollins at WrestleMania 40. I don't know whether that's been in the picture for a long time. I certainly don't think it is. But even so, yes, I agree. It's like this thing of make it make sense for the characters, make it make sense for why are we burying titles left, right, and center?
And also, like, if you're Cody and you won the Royal Rumble and you want to win that belt because it's the belt that your dad held, why didn't you want to face Roman Reigns for it then? Why are you facing Seth Rollins? Because Seth made a good argument on Raw? No, I'm not having that one. I'll get real heat about that. People came after me after that Seth promo. I'll get mad heat about this one. You see how late it's getting? The sun's setting behind me. Quincy here said, The Rock versus Reigns has been a story long in the making, even longer than Cody's, but they sure picked a bad way to get to it. We have the results of our poll, which is that 75% are not excited for Rock versus Roman. John here has been a membug for 12 months in a row, says, I don't know if it's been said already, I'm just joining, but the decision feels like they went with Batista versus Orton at Mania 30. That was a bad choice. Arctelay says, everyone just needs to relax. All of these knee-jerk reactions, I cannot believe how many people are, I'm done with WWE. Holy cow, Cody will win the belt. Calm down, everyone. Everyone taking shots at Rock is ridiculous. Trust the process. Trust Papa H.
Trust is a two-way street.
Greatest trick the devil ever pulled is Triple H convincing everyone that he's been really good at this for 20 plus years. Techno94 says, I'm not guys, I'm just saying that because I know it annoys Dan. I'm saying that just to annoy Dan. The greatest trick the devil ever pulled is Triple H convincing everyone that everyone's always liked him. I'm not a fan of Cody losing his WrestleMania spot. The only way this makes sense is if Cody challenges at Chamber a la Cena in 08 and beats Roman due to Rock's assist, leading to more heat for the Mania match. Like, if I'm having Cody versus Roman at Chamber, Cody's winning that thing fair and square. Because this whole thing is you cheated me out of the win last year. So let's not have Cody cheat Roman out of a win. Ziggy here said CM Punk tried to warn Cody, but he wouldn't listen. So my question is, because I'm neutral to all this, does Cody need to win the belt at Mania? See, I'd love to see it at Mania, but I think winning the belt matters more than where it's won.
So it doesn't matter that he wins it at Mania specifically, but you told us on Saturday that that's what it was for. He won the Royal Rumble to win that belt. He pointed at the sign. He pointed at Roman Reigns and said, I'm coming for you. So it didn't, but now it does, and you've undone it. That's the issue.
Tommy here says, what if he doesn't go for a title this year? Punk wins the Rumble next year. Cody inserts himself into Seth versus Punk, claiming he is still owed a main event title match, or just into Roman versus someone else's match. I don't know. That's the ending of that song. I don't know. Maybe he'll bank his Rumble win for next year. Buster Groove, which is an excellent username. Great PS1 game. Hey guys, I'm not the biggest Cody fan. Like his matches, just too much of a good guy for me. But this annoys me very much. Why care about stories? Hope you're ready for another year of Roman not defending his title. Love you guys. Stay groovy.
I will stay groovy. But what's wrong with good guys?
Do you know what? I don't think we've got time to talk about all of SmackDown beat by beat. Like this is what people want to talk about anyways. That's fine. But we do have a couple of Ultra Chats in about SmackDown. So Kevin here says, can't wait to Kevin here says, can't wait to see how things go between Bayley and Damage Control, with Bayley having to destroy what she created. The reaction of the locker room to Bayley trying to make amends to take down the group. What will Dakota do? I'm really excited for this story. Me too. And I'm telling you now, when she comes out, I think you've made this pitch. When she comes out at WrestleMania and her hugger theme plays and she puts her hair into a side pony and the wacky waveable inflatable tube men come up on stage, it's going to, I might cry.
Yeah,
I mean, legit cry.
You've got the opportunity of about 4 different pops there. Like, there are so many that you could do. No, I just thought it was a brilliant segment. It was a WWE segment in the way that it she spoke a line in Japanese. The Damage Control responded, the crowd responded, Adam Pearce responded, but she still needs to go, yeah, that was in Japanese. Like, it was a little bit handing it to you on a plate. Very WWE in execution. But I thought that I popped for it because I was like, that's what I wanted. I wanted her to stick up for herself in that moment. I thought it was a really effectively handled segment. Loved that the crowd seemed really behind her. Loved that they were interested in it. I mean, look, that's going to be a banger. I can't wait.
It's going to be so good. I can't wait. That's the match I'm really stoked for at Mania.
Yeah. And I'm really happy for them because they've worked really hard and they've had the starts in SummerSlam last year. The booking was a bit atrocious. Then really since, the SummerSlam win with the Money in the Bank. Oh, the Money in the Bank where Io climbed over Bayley to get to the Money in the Bank.
Yeah.
From there on, it's been a nice slow burn. I know that a lot of people have been like, please don't ignore that in the chat, and I completely agree. They've done fantastic work. This was a great segment. Fascinating that they can do it well here and not at the end of the show.
I've absolutely loved all of the little beats along the way. I loved Bayley, like Bayley saving Asuka and Kairi Sane in the Rumble. Bayley always making the save in War Games. Like, I think she has just done so good with this. As I've said, my only real thing against this, I thought this would have happened in 4 weeks' time. I thought we'd have done a real slow build to get to this point. I know we've been doing a slow build, but from the Rumble when doing a slow build, like the next chapter of this story, because she won the Royal Rumble and then they kicked her out the group 1 week later. I think you could have teased this past Chamber before, like after the show after Chamber, you could have made this announcement.
Well, it's interesting because if you think of WrestleMania 17, which is the best WrestleMania of all time, and The Rock and Austin and all that stuff, that build to their match started after No Way Out. So you don't have to do it from the Royal Rumble onwards. It was an interesting choice, but I like the segment.
Fanta Consumer here says, hi guys, hope you're doing well. Not watching either men's world title match, but I'm happy for Bayley and Io. The women's world title match should be good. Don't care about either of the men's ones. Hope your lads are all right though. Well, thank you very much, and I
very
hope you enjoy your Fanta. Seanster here says, long-time viewer, love all your content. Please enlighten us. Where does Priest Money in the Bank tie into the current landscape?
It
I
simply
thought
doesn't.
I thought if it was going to be Seth versus Drew wins the belt, Priest cashes in and wins the belt immediately off of him, because that's just more fuel for the anger fire of Drew McIntyre.
Yeah, it's an interesting shout. I like that. I also like him running out of time with it.
Andy here says, discussing long-term booking, how do we feel about New Japan's Naito story and comparing Cody Rhodes to Naito's run? If WWE is capable of running a multi-year program like that, can you get behind Cody Rhodes if he's going to take it at Mania 41? Look, here's what I Cody thing. I feel like all he's done, while he is still incredibly over, while he is still the top guy of Raw, he felt like he's been treading water since Mania 39. He feuded with Brock for 6 months. He feuded with Dominic Mysterio twice, and then he feuded with Judgment Day for a while. And like, it's just been since WrestleMania 39, we've basically just been sat being like, well, we're just waiting for WrestleMania 40 for Cody to win the belt. Didn't have to be that way, but that is the way that it did feel, at least for me. That's my personal opinion on this.
That's
if we're gonna do Cody at Mania 41, I think you can do that, but you need to give Cody a brilliant year to make me excited, and and on top of that, give Roman a brilliant year to make me excited.
Yeah, that's it. There needs to be some level of energy, otherwise it just isn't.
Yeah. Lizzie Stallion here says, Dan, after now appearing on WWE and TNA, when are you planning to turn up in AEW or New Japan? Love that they showed the clip from your watch-along party, and I love removing Luke's F-bombs and the holy yes. Brilliant stuff.
They didn't just show a clip, they kept showing a clip. They went back with
it
a little bit. That was what was fun. Look, I mean, I'm available for All In. And like, in terms of travel costs, it's very easy to get me in the pre-show. And like, if Kip Sabian's busy, I'll just pretend to be him.
The last Quinby has become a member. Thank you very much. And Nathan Diggs has gifted a membership, so thank you very much. Last couple of chats here. Trent says, Rock versus Roman night 1, tribal match, Roman wins. Roman versus Cody night 2, Hell in a Cell, Cody wins. Jimmy versus Jay, Jimmy wins. Down the road, Jay versus Roman for tribal match, Jay wins. And Cargill versus Nia, Cargill squash. Like, if I'm doing Cargill at Mania, it's Cargill Bianca, because Bianca's not in a world title match, so I'm giving her the biggest match she possibly can, and that's Jade Cargill.
Yummy.
And our last one here, Compa Doom here says, this entire show felt like someone kicked you in the groin. They help you because they help you up because it was an accident, then they do it again. Honestly, I'll step away from WWE for a moment. P.S. Say hi to Andy for me. He was cool. And that's going to do it for this episode. I'd like to thank you all so much for joining us here on the Saturday. Thank you very much, Dan, for taking some time out on this Saturday. I'm going to use this public platform to apologize for my wife for abandoning her and my child for abandoning them for an hour and a half on a Saturday. And I've now got to go do the big shop and then do the kids.
Get them a treat. Get them treats.
I will do. I will do. But yeah, so I really would like to thank you all for coming down here on the Saturday to talk about this. I know we only talked about one segment, but we talked about that one segment for an hour and a half, and it was a pretty in-depth thing. Thank you, Dan, for taking the time out on your Saturday to chat with me as well. And thank you so much to our moderators. Everyone, give the moderators a round of applause in the chat for keeping you lot in shape, because we had 4,500 people in this chat at one time. I did notice that Mod Mother Jenna had to turn on subscriber only mode for the chat because it was getting a bit unwieldy. But thank you all so much for your generous Ultra Chats as well. We'll be back on Tuesday. We're back on Monday. We are back on Monday. Dan and Tempest will be reviewing NXT. So they'll be doing the NXT show on Monday. And then on Tuesday, Dan and I will be returning to review Monday Night Raw, which will have all the fallout of this promo. And I'm sure that will be just as heated. So thank you all so much for joining us today. Wonderfully appreciate every single one of you. Have a great Saturday, and we'll see you on Monday. Take care, everyone. Jam that jam.